The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is Rishab. I'm a marketing associate here at Struxsoft Solutions, part of Greater Group. And joining me is Aparna, our senior implementation specialist, who will be taking us through MarkerLine workflows in MWF. MWF is our flagship solution for those who are new here. It stands for Metal Wood Framer. It's our Revit-based BIM framing software that automates and enhances the creation of walls, floors, ceilings, and trusses in light gauge steel and also in timber. I also wanted to introduce our newest tool for coordination and productivity. It's called FrameLab, which was just released in January this year. Our goal with this product was to identify and resolve issues around openings during early project phases so your teams can save time, money, and effort. So I invite you to learn more about this product after this session ends on our website, www.struxsoftsolutions.com. And before we continue on with the webinar, I would like to inform you that we will be taking live questions at the end of this presentation. If you have a question, you can raise your hand in the GoToWebinar dashboard. Please make sure that your mic is working correctly so we can hear you. And you can also ask questions during the course of this presentation by typing them into the questions tab of the webinar dashboard. And again, we will be answering them at the end of this session. And that is it for me. I hope you enjoy this webinar and find it informative. Aparna, the floor is all yours. I see that you're a presenter, so you can go ahead.
All right, perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Aparna Bhatia, and I am a senior implementation specialist at Struxsoft Solutions, now part of the Great Tech Group. So today we're going to learn how to work with marker lines. So our agenda for today is creating Revit line types. I recommend you create Revit line types for marker lines. That way, if you're purging your project or cleaning your project out, or you see a lot of lines being drawn for no reason, you can at least ensure that they're not marker lines that you're deleting. So we're going to create Revit line types. We're going to create some horizontals using marker lines. We're going to create telescopic panels. Telescopic feature is typically used for Howick machines, or Howick Extenda, I think it's called. So we're going to show you, I'm going to show you how to work with that. And then we're going to work with or create hold series for Rev holds along with anchor bolt holds or anchor rod holds if you need to create them to secure panel to panel. And then we are also going to create ATS stud packs. And then I'll show you how you can really easily extend these elements along multiple panels. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to first go ahead into my panel or my view here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels here. I think structural connections is turned off. And no, they're not turned off. They're just not visible here. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to regenerate these panels. So I'm going to really quickly go to properties and make sure something. So we just have a basic panel here. I'm going to make sure this change applies to all just so we can see the panel numbers. So we have a basic panel here that has 600S200 studs created, typical studs created, and nothing special about this panel. We are going to now try to add in marker lines for this panel. So I'm just going to regenerate so we can see the panel numbers for each of these. Give it a very quick second. It's regenerating 6 panels right now. And there you go. So now that we see the panel numbers, we can at least get started. So now, if I wanted to add a marker line, first I will create the line types, okay? So we're going to go to the Manage button here, and then we're going to go to the additional settings and click on Line Styles. So here within Line Styles, I can create all the different types of lines I want to use for my marker lines. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new subcategory or line style basically, and I'm going to call it horizontal, so H-O-R-I-Z, horizontal 150 T 050, and that's my first one. So I'm going to create that one over here. And then I'm going to change the color for this to be maybe a red color like so. And then I'm going to change the line style to be dot 1/32 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to call that one telescopic, or I'll just call it telescopic 362 R 162-33. So that's basically the telescopic line that we're going to create. For that one, we're going to make it yellow. And again, we're going to change this to dot 1/32. Oops, let's go ahead and find dot dot. There you go. And then I'm going to create a new one again, and this one is going to be for our whole series. So we're going to create a whole series line of 1-inch web hole, 1-inch round web hole. Okay, I'm going to create the other one that is called hole, and I'm going to call it 3-inch round hole. And this could be for the anchors or whatever you need to create these for. Maybe it could be for pipe penetrations as well. So we're going to go there and create that. And then another one I'm going to create is hole dash 3-inch slot. So this is a slot hole now we're creating the line style for. And I'm just going to change the color for this. So the slot hole can be blue, and then 1/32, and then this whole 3-inch round could be pink, and over here this whole 1-inch round could be green over here, like so. So we can change, I'm just gonna copy this and put it as, whoops, there, and there. So we can use those line styles now. And I think I did, oh, and we need one more for the stud pack. So we're going to call it stud dash ATS. Okay, and create that one. And that one will make it blue, maybe purple. And then we can make it, again, paste the value and select that line style. So these are the few line styles we created now. And now we can start with our marker lines. So in order for us to create a marker line, I want to first start with this panel. Okay, so I'm going to select this member here, and click on markers, and then click on create marker lines. Went to the other screen. So now if I wanted to create a horizontal marker line, which goes along this way, I can create a horizontal marker line, or I can choose to create a horizontal marker line. There's 3 ways you can place lines. You can either convert an existing model line, you can create an equally spaced with a max distance, so you can specify the max distance. It will place it along at that max distance, basically. And then over here, you have the regular spacing, which is what I typically like to use. I'm going to just create one line, or I can create 2 if you like, that's fine. And over here, we can say 6 feet, and this one will be at 2 feet from the bottom. So over here, you can choose from the bottom or the top. I'm choosing it from the bottom. And I need to add blocking to this, which is your horizontal member. I have this 150 drawn, but I'm actually going to redo it with you guys. So if you don't see any, we're just going to hit manage. So I have something already set up here, but if you wanted, you could type in your name here. We can modify or mention the type over here, or family type, and then you can say what member designation you want to give it. Horizontal stud, what are you adding basically? A backing member, or horizontal stud, furring, whatever you're adding, you can mention that here. You can specify your line style now. So for this line style, I want it to be horizontal 150T 105. So I'm actually going to change the name of this 150T 050-16. And then over here, I'm going to set the angle to 270. So it's rotated the correct way that I would like it to be. And this vertical justification is in the section's shape, where do you want the line to be located? So are you specifying the line's dimension based on the top of the member shape, or middle of the member shape, or bottom? So say if this is my shape here, are you specifying that dimension, or that dimension? Okay, so I'm going to say middle. And over here, actually, I'm going to say top here. Okay, and over here, we can choose our lateral if you wanted interior, exterior, or centered. So I'm going to place it centered because I want it in the middle of the structural layer. And over here, how do you want to end the member? So we're going to use force end of line for this. You also have stop at the nearest intersected member. So if your line cuts short, like maybe here, so it last intersected this member, so it's going to cut the member short there, even though the line extends out to here. Whereas if you use force end of line, the member would be drawn to wherever you drew the edge of the line. Okay. And if you choose extend to closest member after end of line, so if the line ends over here, it's going to extend the member all the way to this edge. Okay. So we're going to use force end of line right now. And then you have the option to split the members or not. So I'm actually going to create two of these. So I'm going to create one that is going to be called continuous. And then I'm going to hit add for that. And then I'm actually going to delete this guy here. And over here for this one, I'm not going to split the members. So I'm going to hit update after I say uncheck split members. And now I'm going to create a break. And this one, I want it to be split at the doors or at the kings of the door, window, and openings. And if I wanted to create a stagger for this one, I have the option to as well. Okay, I don't want to create a stagger. I just want this to happen, or I wanted to split there. So I'm just going to hit add over here. So it adds the break one, and then it adds the regular one. If you wanted to add a whole series to the continuous one, feel free to add it over here. You can even add clips, but I'm not going to be doing that. I will be adding the whole series another way. Okay, so I can probably add in clips to this though. So I can set clip settings. And over here, I can choose which clip I want. So I'm going to be, I think oops, I did a mistake there. That's fine. We won't insert clips. I think I deleted the clip from the file. So if I inserted the clip, if I had the clip family in my project, I would have been able to use it, but currently I don't. But it's fine. You have the option to update this at a later time as well. You can also set your cutbacks if you wanted it to cut back a specific way at a C-stud versus a track versus an I-beam or a rectangular. You can choose how you want your horizontals to cut back. Okay, so we have these two drawn in. So we're going to hit OK. And over here, I'm just going to choose the broken one for this blocking member. Okay, and now that I've chosen the broken one, I might actually have to place this a little higher because it's actually interfering with the door here as well. So maybe I'll put this up to be at 7 feet. So it goes right through there, or maybe 6'6" actually. Let's do it that way. So let's do it at 6'6". I just want to show you the differences. So since we applied the broken to both of these, I actually want this one to be continuous. I don't want it to break at the kings. So I don't want it to create an extra members, right? Or any extra members. So I can go to properties for that specific line. And I can choose to change the blocking here to continuous and hit OK. And then I can come here and just go ahead and regenerate the panel. So the members will only show up after you regenerate the panel. Okay, so you can see that this one created it continuous. Oh, sorry, broken. And that one created it, created a continuous line. Okay, so this is basically one of the ways you can use this. The next thing you can do with marker lines is create a telescopic panel. So Howick has a tool called for Howick machines, we've created a tool called Telescopic. So you can create a telescopic panel. I'm not going to be doing that in this because it needs to use specific families. So I have a telescopic framing view here. So what I'm going to do is, again, same rules. I'm going to click on the panel, create a marker line. I'm going to choose a vertical marker line this time, and I'm going to choose create vertical marker line. Regular spacing, I'm just going to place one line, and I'm going to say place it at 6 feet away or something. And then over here, I'm going to choose telescopic, and I've already created one, but if you wanted to, you can click on manage and create your own. Let me just bring it over from the other side. So if I click on this, you can see the settings for it. So I want this one to actually use a different line style. So for this one, I wanted to use the Tele 362R 162-33 line style. And then this is the family, the telescopic family I wanted to use. And these are the extensions I wanted to use, 3 inches and 3 inches. And I'm just going to hit update. So when I click on this, you'll see that this got updated and the family and members got updated as well. Okay, so we'll hit all right. And over here, we are going to choose the telescopic 362R 162-33. Okay, we're going to hit OK. And it created a line style over here. That's surprising. It should have created a telescopic one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go check the properties of this panel. And here you can see that we had the telescopic one already added. So I'm just going to regenerate. If I like where it's located, great. If I don't like where it's located, maybe I want the telescopic to be like line to be placed here. So I'm going to move it from this point to maybe say this point. This might be the halfway of the panel or something. So maybe this is where I want it to be located. What I'm going to do also, like you can see that I can just move the lines as I need. So I'm going to put a dimension here or have it be kind of centered. Looks okay. So what I'm going to do now is what I'm going to do now is actually regenerate the panel. And you'll be able to see the top and bottom track splice almost, but I'll show you this connection in 3D. So you can see that the R stud got created at the same location, and that is so that we could create a telescopic condition here. So this allows your panels to be extendable or adjustable on site, basically. So you have a little bit of tolerance on either side to squish the panel. Maybe you're retrofitting a building. This would be great for something like that. Now that I have telescopic over here, I don't just want this panel to be telescopic. I want kind of like the whole length to be telescopic. I also kind of want the width to be telescopic. So let's go ahead and create a horizontal marker line as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go markers, create marker line. We're going to create a nice little horizontal marker line, regular spacing. I'm going to say number, and I'm just going to say I want it at 5 feet. Again, telescopic, but you'll notice there's nothing created because we had something created for the vertical, but for the horizontal, we need to create one. So we'll go ahead and hit manage. And once we hit manage, I can just select this one, and I'm going to call it, this is going to be H telescopic. And then I'm going to make this horizontal. The settings are pretty much the same, except now we have a top and bottom extension. So I'm going to give this a 6-inch extension on either end. And then we're just going to hit add. And now we have a horizontal telescopic condition created, and we can hit OK. So I'm going to choose the horizontal telescopic and hit OK. And for that line, again, I'm going to change this line style to be telescopic. And over here, we're going to regenerate. Okay, so you'll see that I'll show you this from the other side. you'll see that it created the R stud inside the regular typical S stud, and this is kind of what gives you the flexibility. This kind of gives you the flexibility. I might actually change the color of that line, so give me one very quick second. So I'm going to go to additional settings, lines. Over here, I'm going to go ahead and click on telescopic and change the color. Maybe I'll make it dark blue or magenta. Yeah, let's make it this pink. Okay, so there you go. At least you can see it now. So now what if I wanted to have this happen on this panel and on that panel? So what I can do is I can actually use the Revit modify commands and stretch my lines. So the only thing you shouldn't do with marker lines is split them. You can always copy them, you can stretch them. So I'm stretching this up here as well as extending this out to there. So now if I wanted to copy this line up to the other panels, I have the option to do that too. So I can just copy it from here to the next panel here. Again, copy it from here to the next panel here. Okay, so say this is where I wanted, maybe this one I might want to move it down a little, maybe make it 2.5 feet, maybe more, 3 feet should be better. Okay, 3'2". That should be okay. So maybe somewhere like something like this. And even for this one, I want to copy it over to the other side. So I'm going to copy this and place it here. Now that I've copied it all over, like you can see that the telescopic is only happening here and happening on these studs. So now I can just regenerate all these panels. Oopsie. Regenerate all these panels. So I'm going to just select all of this and go ahead and regenerate. And give it a second. I just thought I'll mention, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the questions dashboard. Okay, and there you go. So you can see, if I turn the panel this way, you can see that it created the telescopic function here and here, even though we just drew one line. So if you have 15 panels in a line and you use this line to do that, it will do it for 15 panels. So you set up the setting once and you had it happen for 15 panels instead of doing it manually for each. So that's it for telescopic. Now let's come back to this one. And I'm going to actually draw a ATS stud pack in here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to select the panel member here. I'm going to go to markers and I'm going to create marker lines. I am going to create a vertical marker line and I'm going to choose regular spacing. I'm just going to say 1 and I want it at 6 feet. And I'm going to choose to create a stud pack. So I'm going to choose ATS stud pack that I have here and hit OK. So these stud packs can be created within your marker manager. So we can go ahead and take a look at those settings really quickly. So go to walls, vertical framing. Just going to rename this to be ATS stud pack. There you go. Properly. Oh, no. OK. There you go. So I'm going to just double click that one, and these are the settings I've used for it. So it will create a double 60-200, create another double 60-200, and this is the spacing in between. And the height above is 4'4". And oops, this jack stud actually needs to be 600 T200. There you go. So it will create all of these members for us and it will create our whole series as well. So we'll hit OK and hit OK. So those are the settings I set up for that ATS marker. Again, I'll change the line type to be the stud ATS. I don't want the ATS to be placed here. I actually want it to be located maybe in this bay. So I'm actually going to go to my section. There you go. so that I can locate this line properly with dimensions. So I'm going to actually move it first. So let's move it to the bay we want it in. So I want it in this bay, for example. And now I'm going to just drag these dimensions so I can make it equidistant to the center of the stud spacing. So equidistant, there you go. And delete that value and say okay. So there, it's located there, but I want the ATS marker to go all the way through. So again, I'm going to do the stretch and I'm going to have it extend all the way to the top. And this is how it's going to work or go through. And then I just have to regenerate these 3 panels in order for us to see the members. So give it a second again. Okay, it created the ATS stud pack for you. This is typically used for towers or buildings that are taller than 3 to 4 stories, I think, or if anything that's considered a tall building, basically is where this gets used by some of our clients. Okay, so you have the option to add that in. Yeah, so that's the 4-foot height that we specified. But that's basically how you create a ATS marker. And now let's go back to this panel here. So I'm going to go back to my framing view. I'm going to create another, no, you know what? I'll stay in my marker lines there. So I'm going to create another marker line. So I'm just actually going to, instead of creating a new one, I'm just going to take the one that I have here. I'm going to copy it and move it up and move this one down. And that's basically what I'm going to use. So I'm going to use these two to create web holes. So I'm going to change the line style to be 1-inch round web hole. That's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to just specify the dimensions for them. So this one is going to be maybe 6 inches from the top. And then this one is going to be 6 inches from the bottom, maybe. But make sure it is actually choosing the bottom of the panel. 6 inches. There we go. So those are my web holes that are going to be going to connect panel to panel. I think this one was also to the center line, wasn't it? Yeah. So let's do that to be 6 inches. There we go. So that's how I want my web holes to be located. So let's do that. And then we're also going to add in our 3-inch round holes. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to select these reference planes and delete them because I don't really need that. There we go. So I'm actually going to create a 3-inch round hole in 2 locations. One is in this bay and the other one is in that bay. So I'm actually just going to take this ATS marker line that we created and copy it to this bay, and I can center it the way I like, and this bay. Again, dimensions. You can dimension it to be centered. I just like to make sure everything is equally distributed so that it doesn't interfere with the other studs and their attachments. So that, and then we're going to do equidistance there. Perfect. So now that we have these done, we can close out. I'm actually going to also copy the marker lines everywhere to every panel. So the vertical ones, these guys are already copied up. But what I'm actually going to do with these ones is, so 1, 2, and 3. Actually, I'll select all lines. So let's do that for a second. So I'm going to select everything here, check none, and I'm only going to select the lines 1, 2, and 3. So this actually helps. Instead of having wide lines everywhere, you can actually know what lines you're deleting or what lines are filtering out. So I'm copying, selecting all of those. I'm going to mirror them with an axis. So I'm going to mirror them using this as an axis, and this is where it gets located. So I probably need to move the vertical lines over, right? So let me just do that. Maybe right here. This might be a good spot. Okay, good. They kind of look centered. That's pretty much what I want. This one might not be fully centered, but it's okay. We're good. So now that we have our vertical lines copied, I need my horizontal lines copied up as well. But before I do that, for the continuous and the broken horizontals, I actually want to add a slot hole as well. So along with the horizontal, I wanted to create a slot hole. So I can actually go to properties of that line style or line type. And I can add in, I'm not gonna edit the blocking at all. I'm gonna add in a 3-inch slot hole here for them. And then for this one and this one, I'm going to make sure I go to properties again. Oops, actually, I don't wanna copy these ones here. Delete. I want the same lines to extend through, right? So I don't have to do the work twice. So I'm going to extend to this end, that line, oops, to this end, that line, that line, that line. So, yeah, there you go. So I'm going to, again, do the same thing just because the member decided to extend instead of the line itself. Model line. There you go. Okay, perfect. So now that we have, and this one also the model line didn't extend. No, it did not. So I'm going to do that as well. So there, and choose the model line. There we go. Okay, so the horizontals are also extended. So again, let's just change the settings for these green lines here. So go to properties. We're going to make sure there's no continuous added to these. We only wanted to add a hole series for web hole. So that's 1-inch round hole. I also wanted to show you that for this 1-inch round, for this 1-inch round hole, I haven't selected anything except for end verticals. I only wanted to create on the end verticals and not on the horizontal or on the regular typical verticals. For the 3-inch round hole, I only wanted to create on the top and bottom tracks. And if you and the end verticals, and if you have a top and bottom track going through anything else and stuff, I wanted to create only on those, and the slot holes can be created on anything. Okay, so I'm just showing you the settings. So I'm going to hit save and hit close. So I'm going to do the 1-inch round hole for those two, and then everything else seems to be set up. But for these continuous marker lines, for this one, I want to just make sure that it has the continuous and the 3-inch slot hole, good. And then for this one, I want to make sure that it has a 3-inch slot hole and broken, perfect. So now I want to copy these horizontal lines also up. So I'm going to select that. Okay, so all the model lines are selected. It says common for, that means I selected something. Yeah, they're correct. So actually, I'm just gonna do it this way. It's easier. So filter, I'm gonna filter out only the line styles that I want. Okay, so those guys. Now I'm gonna copy them up through the panel. So I'm gonna go from here to the next panel, maybe here, and then again to the next panel. Here. Okay, so maybe I don't need the horizontal like member created in this panel. So I might actually see where the lines got copied, right? So I don't need the horizontal member being created for this panel, but I actually still need the web hole to be created. So I'm going to choose that and have it be 6 inches from the top. And that's pretty much it. So all my settings are set up for all of them now. All I have to do is select all the panels and regenerate. So even though those members extended, they're going to regenerate and go back to their normal size that they're supposed to be. Okay, and oh, sorry, let it go on. Give it another second. So it's adding all the members that we want for it to add. It seems like some of them actually still have the ATS, which I forgot to remove. So we're going to go ahead and fix those shortly once this finishes regenerating. Yeah, so I forgot to actually make these the round holes. So I'm just going to select those 4 lines, go to properties, and make sure there is no stud pack added, and make sure there's a whole series of 3-inch round hole, and hit OK. And again, I can regenerate all these panels, and it will show you the changes. Give it another few minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. All right. Okay, there you go. So now that it's done creating all of these, it'll go to the framing view, and we'll go through the panel a little bit. I think I forgot to extend it out, maybe. That one's weird. It should actually cut a hole through all of them. Maybe did it not select the whole series? Yep, it did not select the whole series. Round hole. Okay, I'm just going to regenerate this panel itself to show you the 3-inch round hole because I don't want to waste too much time for everybody else. Oh, no, it doesn't like it. Okay, great. So I'm going to, that's fine. So that one didn't work, but you can actually see that it created the round hole series over here. So it's kind of similar. So I'm going to delete these guys for now. But yeah, okay. So for the other hole series, at least, you can see that we have our line over here drawn, but it's only cutting the hole in the end verticals because that's what we told the 1-inch web hole to do. And over here, it's not cutting any of the interior framing members. And the slot hole is cutting through every single interior framing member. You can see here. And over here as well, it's creating the openings. So if you didn't want the slot holes to cut through the kings, you could actually set that up in your settings for the whole series. And yeah, this is basically how you can add multiple elements with marker lines. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask.
All right, thank you for the presentation, Aparna. And as she says, the floor is open for your questions. Again, you can raise your hand in the webinar dashboard or type it in the questions tab so I can get to you. And while we wait for some questions to file in, I'd just like to remind you that the recording of this presentation will be sent through tomorrow via email and posted on our social media channels by the end of the day today. So please feel free to share this recording with any of your colleagues or friends. And we're just going to wait a few more seconds to see if there are any questions.
And while we wait, I'm just going to test this out again. Sorry. This goes down to there. And I'm just going to regenerate 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now let's take a look at there you go, the whole series got created. It was having a glitch for some reason with the ATS line. But yeah, it creates the whole series at the points. And you can also see that it's created it in the top and bottom track here. And over here, it's not creating it as part of the horizontals because we told it to only create in the top and bottom track. Okay. So that's it. I guess we don't have any questions today.
That is correct. Looks like we don't have any questions, but I'm glad that this worked out. However, if there are any questions about this webinar after this session, please feel free to reach out to us. Our contact details will be provided along with your recording tomorrow in your email. And if you would like to set up a one-on-one demonstration or a training with one of our experts, we will be happy to set it up as well. We will now be ending this webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope you have a great day ahead.
Thank you.